I didn't deserve it. And she was such a picture of Christ and his love for us, loving us when we've sinned against him and we've wronged him and rejected him, but he loved us and went to the cross so that we could be forgiven and so that relationship could be restored. And I remember there were so many opportunities growing up where I didn't have the right response, but Priscilla still loved and was that picture of Christ and that willingness to show love when I didn't deserve it and being there to restore the relationship and to bring going the second mile to bring restoration. And so I'm so thankful for your example to do that.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. It is Monday, June 24th, 2024, and I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Anna Duggar returned to her X account, her Twitter. It used to be called Twitter, now it's called X. And it was back in May, on May 30th, and she was like posting about how Trump was going to be president. And it had to do with the fact that Trump had been convicted on 34 counts, and she believed that because of that, he was going to become president. She felt that the easiest way to become the president would be to convict him. I don't know. Anyways, Anna has a wild belief that Joe Biden has it out for Josh and believes that Joe Biden put her husband in prison, which isn't really what happened, but this is Anna Duggar. So the day that she posted happened to coincide with the same day that Josh Duggar's attorneys filed their response motion to the response of this government, this U.S. attorney's response to the Supreme Court. So he petitioned the Supreme Court basically claiming that his constitutional rights had been violated and he needed a new trial because he was not allowed to give a complete defense and blah, 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 blah. He has a right to, a complete defense. The lower courts were wrong. The appeals court were wrong. So now he went to the heavy majority Republican Supreme Court, likely hoping that maybe they would side with him to sort of debunk this idea that Biden is out to get him, right? So I'm not doing this for politics. I'm just saying that currently the Supreme Court leans Republican and the Duggars are Republican. So they have this belief that the Republicans will help Josh get out of prison. Well, they did all of the steps they needed to petition the Supreme Court to look at Josh's file. They get hundreds, thousands of files every year that they have to review, and they only review a handful of cases. And they choose the most important cases that are weighted on specific topics and issues that affect the American people. And Josh's case surrounding his consumption and addiction and his need to download disgusting content of CSAM, view it, delete it, and his disgusting habit and his disgusting predilection for children was not an issue that the Supreme Court cared to address. And, seriously, I don't think this is the kind of case that anyone would want to grab hold of. No Republican would want on record like, hey, I helped a P get out of prison because he's Josh Duggar. Yeah, no, not at all. So the Supreme Court announced today, actually, that they would deny Josh's case. They didn't give an explanation. They didn't file any sort of reason as to why it was denied. They didn't even write anything. They just said that it was denied. And this is kind of interesting because Josh went through a ton. Like, he did out a first draft of a first motion for why he needed a new trial, and then the government had to respond, and then he filed another motion, and these were like 30-some page documents that he's filing in the Supreme Court, and that's not cheap, y'all. And then he has to pay a lawyer to do all that. And they didn't even give him an explanation. They just said denied. So with that, bad news. Shockingly, around the same time, at the end of May, Anna decided that she needed to get a job. And it's not uncommon that Anna would need to get a job because the Duggars have been in the business of closing out all of their weird LLCs that they've had open for years. So recently, a bunch of their companies have gotten revoked. Jeremiah Duggar's, like Cessnas, like his airplane, those businesses that he opened, like LLCs that were just in his name, they all got revoked. Jason Duggar's Brixton Contractors got revoked. there's a medic, the Medicorp, the nonprofit that they have, that's not current. The Duggars have a lot of revoked businesses right now. And coincidentally, Anna happened to close every single one of the businesses that Josh had opened. So naturally, a mom of 7 who has a husband that's not going to get out of prison until 2032 has decided to do what? Become a dog breeder. A woman that can barely take care of her own kids and relies still on the Duggar family, which is highly questionable of why you would let your in-laws help raise your children. But again, it's a cult. Is going to be doing dogs. Some sort of dog company. It's like Golden Grove Pups, LLC. Now, I have to note this, that Arkansas is filled with puppy mills. And it's not uncommon in Arkansas because of their lax regulations, and it's more of like out in the country, that because they don't have the tightest regulations for dog breeding, that dogs that are bred in the state of Arkansas, if you look at the maps for puppy mills, Arkansas and Missouri are 2 of the highest, most densely populated in the country. Because of this, there's a surplus of dogs in the state of Arkansas, which end up in other states. And I'll give you an example. I don't trust Anna to be a dog breeder, and I hope she's not being a dog breeder, because I ended up adopting a dog from Arkansas. When I adopted my dog, Sweetie, she had just given birth. She had already been through multiple births. She was maybe 2 years old, 2.5. And she had been bred to produce babies from the time that she was born until the time they dumped her. When she was dumped at the side of the road, she still was engorged. She had just weaned her babies. And when I got her, she had to be shipped from Arkansas to Minnesota. A company that rescues dogs took her from death row of a shelter because there's so many dogs in Arkansas right now. They were going to euthanize her because there's just, at the time we got her, it was in 2019, the rescue said that there was like 7 dogs for every 1 person. There's really no need to breed dogs in the state of Arkansas right now because of the number of dogs that they already have. So Sweetie, who came from a puppy mill, she's a hound, a Treen Walker Coon Hound, which is a huge hunting dog in the South. And they mostly are trained to hunt squirrels and raccoons and rabbits and different climbing animals. Now, I know rabbits don't climb, but when they do climb, a Treen Walker Coon Hound will track the animal and it'll pin it in a tree, and then they bark at the tree and howl and bay, and then the hunter can come and shoot the animal that's in the tree. They're bred specifically for small game, and there's a lot of them. When I got Sweetie, she was so abused. She had slashes on her face. She had scars on her back. She had cracked teeth because she had been kept in a cage for almost her entire life. Basically, the only time she was out of a cage was when she was giving birth. She was she's a beautiful tri-colored Walker Coon Hound. And so because of that, she's the ideal coloring for the breed. But because they bred her so young, the veterinarian here that I took her to said that she was likely too young when she was initially bred and didn't produce enough puppies. And if they don't produce enough puppies, they are dumped. And so she was dumped at the side of the road and rescued by a great nonprofit and then shipped up to Minnesota, and we found her and rescued her. It took us a long time to train her, and she's still super skittish of men. She doesn't love strange men that come into the house like for maintenance and stuff. She hates mail trucks. She hates garbage cans. She is spooked by just about everything. And Arkansas just has a bad problem with dogs right now. Too many. So Anna does not need to be opening a dog shelter or a dog. Anna does not need to be breeding dogs. And I'm highly suspicious that she's going to be grooming dogs, right? You'd have to have a license for that. And the way that the LLC is set up, it almost sounds like she's planning to breed dogs and sell dogs. And I don't trust them to raise dogs correctly. I don't trust them to take care of dogs. I don't trust that the dogs that aren't breeding well will not end up like my Sweetie. And these types of breeders it shouldn't be allowed in the United States, frankly. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Anna had to get a job, right? I'm sure she has to feel like she's contributing something economically. They have been in this family has been Josh has been in prison since 2022 now, and the end of 2021. There's no income coming in for him. They've lost their show. They've wasted probably a couple $1 million on his defense to get him nowhere. He's not coming home until 2032, and she still lives at the Duggar house. So if you're wondering where she lives, she's living in the home with the Duggars, meaning she lives in the girls' bedroom that's upstairs with her daughters and any of the Duggar daughters that still live there. She's sharing a room with her daughters in a child's bedroom. And then her sons are sleeping in the boys' room. And Jana was kicked out because she had an incident with Mariella. So she lives in a shed, basically, next to the property. It's a tiny little trailer. And that's where Anna's living right now. And she's going to be a dog breeder, I guess. And it's really disturbing. I'm glad that the Supreme Court made the decision to deny Josh's case. I certainly hope this is the last we see of him in the courts. I hope there's nothing more filed. I hope they just give this up and he can serve his time. What he's doing is wasting taxpayers' money. He's wasting taxpayers' time. He's wasting the government's time by continuing to fight a very obvious and thoroughly investigated and clean-cut case of guilt. And all of this has been done at the detriment of everyone else in the family. You've got daughters that are basically out, that barely see their family because dad has taken the side of their abuser. Josh's wife lives in a house with his parents because I guess he still is controlling her from prison. And Anna still believes, for whatever reason, that she can't divorce him. And she's going to be without him for 8 more years. That's a long time, and I keep waiting for her to wake up, and I just don't see it happening. Josh is not going to change. Josh is not going to accept his responsibility. At no point in any of the documents that were filed in the Supreme Court does he acknowledge any ounce of guilt, and he is still blaming Caleb Williams, even though Caleb was the 5th person he blamed. It's pretty gross. So the Duggars are strapped for cash, and Anna needs to get a job, which includes becoming a dog breeder. And like I said, my little side jaunt about my dog Sweetie is just another indication of there's so many dogs in Arkansas, they don't need any more. I'm really grateful that I'm sad what happened to my dog, but I'm so glad that the company that the nonprofit rescued her. I'm so glad that she came up to Minnesota. I'm so glad that she's a part of our family. We love her so much. But dogs like Sweetie are being dumped all over Arkansas still because there's such lax regulations for dog breeders there. And there's way too many dogs. And it's just another unregulated business that the Duggars can get involved in to make some cash. And the fact that they're going this route just kind of tells me that they're at the point where they need anything for money. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are about her new dog breeding business. Have you ever adopted a rescue dog? Any of you familiar with hounds? I've got 2 of them. They're wild. They are lazy and wild at the same time, and both are rescues. What are your thoughts? Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to leave a comment. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click on the bell so you never miss a video. Bye guys.